You can get them at drugstores or department stores, and this one is about $2, and it's made of clear plastic, and it's got all these nice little pockets around the edges, and I put my individually purchased pro markers in there. You know, you go to the store and you buy a couple. That's what I'm doing with all the little pockets around. But in the center, what I really love is that I can fit my blending kits. And I want to keep these in their original packaging because when we open it up, we can see them all arranged in rainbow order, so it's very easy to make sure you're blending with the right markers, the ones that will blend together naturally. So I wanted to keep this storage solution the way it was. And they fit all nicely into this little satchel. So no matter what project I'm doing, all I need to do is grab my little marker purse and go. Alright, now on to the video tutorial. Okay, let's do some coloring. Today we're going to color the sweet little fairy. It is from the new Crafter's Companion flower fairy stamps, and I just love them. I bought all 4 sets that they offered because they were so pretty. I got them at customcrops.com on sale, and they were totally a splurge, but so worth it. Actually, they were on sale for $6.50 a set, so I didn't feel too bad about that. Anyway, I wanted to show you today the pastel set of pro markers, the blending sets, and I wanted to just limit myself to the pastel set and see what we could do with that. And the first thing I'm going to do is stamp my little flower fairy with Memento ink, because Memento will not run when you use your pro markers. And here's a tip: these clear stamps are beautiful designs, but they are the less expensive polymers, so I just take a very fine emery board sanding block type thing, and I just go over it, and that gives it a little bit of grab, a little tooth, so it will stamp really well. I'm just going to ink it up well in the black Memento ink. I've tried hundreds of different ink pads, it seems like, and black Memento just does the best job. And here I am stamping on Nina Super Smooth 80-pound Solar White cardstock. You can use whatever your favorite cardstock is. This one blends really well. And I'm going to let that dry. See, I've got a nice crisp impression. While this is drying, I want to show you something else you can do with your pro markers. Here I have some seam binding, and it's basically a very thin rayon ribbon, but any type of ribbon will really work. Since this is so thin, it won't suck up too much ink. But I'm going to actually color it with my Meadow pro marker, and I'm going to use the wide end, and I'm just going to color it. And since the ribbon is so thin, it'll seep right through and I won't have to go over and do the other side. But I'm going to want a coordinating bow, and the best way to make it coordinate is just to color it with my pro markers. Now you can coordinate brads, buttons, anything really, because this will mark on any surface. And it's really a great way to make your supplies go further. In fact, I always make sure I have plenty of white and like light cream ribbons and buttons and brads and stuff like that on hand, because I know I can always alter them to meet my needs with my pro markers. Alright, I'm going to set this aside for a few minutes to dry, but it'll be ready for us later. I want to put a background in, and I like to do this first because then I don't have to worry about ruining the perfect image by having it all perfectly colored and then trying to put a background in. So what I'm going to do is use these ink pads. These are by the company Sugarloaf, and they sell them at AC Moore in a pack of 30 for about $50. Remember, use your coupon. I got mine many years ago when they first came out. I think I paid $16 for them because I have a friend who works there, and she was able to use her coupon and her discount, and I got a really awesome deal. So what I'm doing, and I like this, they have a very spongy, almost like the Ranger foam applicators. They have a very spongy type of pad, and they give you a really, really nice blended look when you go in to put your backgrounds in. And I'm going right up to my little fairy here, but I'm giving it kind of a light touch. I like to turn my paper as I work, so I can start off the paper, off my card, and pull it in. And really, it saves so much time that you have to go in and color afterwards, and also it just gives you a really pretty soft effect. You don't want to do this with freshly inked pads. You want to, if you do have to re-ink a pad, ink it and let it sit for a few hours before you try this so you don't end up with any streaks. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we just want a nice soft look. Alright, so now I'm going to go in and start coloring, and I'm going to start with the dress, and I'm going to use the 2 paints that come in my pastel blending marker set. I have pale pink, which is the light one, and baby pink, which is the darker one. And I like to start with my darks first. And I'm just going to go in quickly and throw in some of the darker pink anyways. These are both pastels, but I'm going in with my dark. And then I'm going to go in with my light and blend it. I'm basically coloring over everything with my light here. And to get a further light, I'm going to go in with my clear blender. Now, you may think with a pastel you can't get very much difference between your dark and your light. Well, think about the clear blender as having one extra light shade of every color. So I'm able to get it a little bit lighter with my clear blender. But then I can go back in with my darker pink again after it started to dry, and I can add a little bit more dark. And this will actually blend in a little bit as it mixes with the wet ink underneath. If you let it dry completely and go back in, you'll get a crisper, harder line, but if you want it to blend, you can work right in while it's wet and it will blend out quite a bit. Alright. For the skin, I find the putty color to be very close to skin tone, and that is included in the pastel set, and you can see you can read the names right on the side. And I'm going to go in and just color the skin with putty. Now remember, we can lighten it up a little bit with our clear marker, so don't worry if it looks a little dark to you. We can add a little bit of pink to the cheeks with our lightest pink. We can add a little vanilla if it seems a little bit too, if the skin tone seems a little bit too grayish to you. Just think of your markers like paints, and you can blend them a little bit. You can mix the colors a little bit. Don't think that you just have 13 colors here. You actually have a whole rainbow of colors just by mixing. The vanilla here, I'm just going to use that, and see, when I add that over the putty, it gives it a much nicer skin tone. You don't want to add too much. You don't want her to look jaundiced, but just a little bit here and there. And then I'm going to go in and blend it. Actually, can we throw a little cheek color in there first? And then I'm just going to go blend it with my clear, which will lighten it up a little bit. It's so easy. And this is going to be a Mother's Day card for my sister, and she doesn't go online very much, so I'm pretty safe on posting it beforehand. She just had a baby a year and a half ago, so that's kind of fun. Here I'm putting in a little bit of vanilla in the hair to give her some nice blonde hair. And notice I didn't color all the way to the top because I'm going to bring in my clear and make that look like it's really highlighted up there. Okay. Look how quickly this is coloring. It's so fast. If you want some shadow in the hair, you can go in with your tan marker, also included in the blending set. You can just give a little bit towards the bottom there. Give it some streaks. It's a perfect way to do blonde. I like the vanilla and tan and the clear blend to make a lovely blonde. You can go in and put some flowers on her little headband. You can go put a little green in there. The blending kits really take the guesswork out of, I think I'll use this apple green, out of blending. It takes the guesswork. You don't have to worry that you picked the right markers, you bought the right sets, it's got everything you need, which is really nice. I'm going to use my lightest blue, and it's called pastel blue. And I'm just going to color in the wing. I'm going to use the wider end because it'll be a little bit quicker. The nice thing about the Pro markers is since they're alcohol ink based, I can go over them with watercolors or water-based markers and not lift them up if I feel like I want to add a little something. Like I want to add a little shimmer to her wings, so I'm going to use a little bit of iridescent watercolor, and I'm just going to paint right on top of my markers. Get a little bit, I'm just using the pearl white here in the set. I honestly can't remember who makes this watercolor set, but I bought it from skybluepink.com. But any iridescent watercolors will do. You can even go into the kids aisle at your department or craft store and usually find a little set of iridescent watercolors, and they'll work just fine. Or you could take a little pearlette and you can mix it with a little bit of water and gum arabic, or you could dip your paintbrush right into a bottle of glimmer mist, and that will work too. Alright, and you can see how that really shimmers and shines. Isn't that pretty? Okay, now we can go ahead and make a card. Here is a little Happy Mother's Day sentiment, from my sentiments exactly, and it's an unmounted stamp I got in a grab bag last year. And the little butterfly came from the spring collection from the Crafter's Companion, and I've just stamped that on there with the same ink that I was using earlier. And now I'm going to take that blue that I used to ink up our sky, and I'm just going to pull in a little color around the edges. Very easy, very pretty. Now remember when we made our ribbon at the beginning of the video? We just colored it with a pro marker? Well, now we are going to use it. I have another little bow trick. I showed you my little hot glue bow the other day. Well, this is another great trick, and I can't claim it as my own. I actually saw it on Leah Fung's blog, but it was so good that I use this all the time. Basically what you do is you crisscross a little short length of ribbon so it looks like a bow. Then you simply wrap another length of ribbon around it. I love this color. It's so pretty, and I love that it didn't use too much of my pro marker ink because the ribbon is so thin. This seam binding came from SewTrue.com. Every once in a while they have a free shipping deal, and this 1/4 inch seam binding is actually on clearance for like $2 a roll. I think it's really, really cheap, and you get like 100 yards or something in a roll. So I love me some frugal craft supplies, because then I'm not afraid of using them up, because if I know it costs a lot, I won't worry about using them all up. And I am just going to wrap this around my little Mother's Day sentiment here. And of course I'm going to glue it down. My favorite thing, hot glue. Just going to fix it so it's just so. And then grab my glue gun. Now this is really thin ribbon, so you got to be careful that your glue doesn't show, but I'm just going to give it a teeny dot on the back. I'm going to stick it right down. And I'm going to wrap my ribbon around the back and secure it. I printed up some houndstooth paper from the Shabby Houndstooth set from Lindsay Stamp Stuff, my company, and I took this just plain old 5x7 pre-folded card. I inked the edges with my green that we've already used. I inked the edges of this pink pattern paper from Lindsay Stamp Stuff with my pink ink, and now I'm just going to tape it down my card. Just like so, easy as can be. Take my sentiment, and I think I'll actually put that on with hot glue because I want it to be raised a little bit. I want to make sure I have enough room for my little fairy here. So I'm actually going to pull that right out to the edge. I gotta snip into my seam binding too, but I'll do that in a minute. I use my hot glue gun a lot. Alright, and now we've got my little colored fairy here. And what I do, here's another trick. If I am too lazy to go across the craft room and grab dimensional adhesive, then I just squirt on a little low temperature hot glue gun, give it a second to set, and then I squirt on a little bit more, and then I've just got a dimensional adhesive. And as a bonus, it won't dry out and fall off like I've had some of my dimensional adhesive do before, and that's very frustrating when you make a card and then you find that all the embellishments have fallen off. I cut out a few of the little butterflies that I had stamped, and I'm going to put them on various places in my card just to decorate it up a little bit. And when I glue it down, I'm going to use my hot glue just on the fold. I folded my little butterflies in half just in the middle to make it dimensional. Make them all turn different ways when you glue them down so it's a little more interesting. Make them, come over edges. It just looks pretty when you put them in unexpected places. You don't want them all lined up like soldiers. You want them very natural looking. It's also a great way to hide a mistake if you make a mistake on your card. And there we have our little card. I also made a little gift box to match. This can hold a gift card or a little mini album. I need to reglue my butterfly there. Didn't have quite enough hot glue on that one. And I used a little bit more of my little ribbon. I put 2 brads so I could close my box with a little figure 8 ribbon. And I love to decorate my envelopes. I don't know if my envelope is handy or not. No, I don't see my envelope around. Anyway, I like to decorate my envelopes, but it's not going to happen right now because I don't have it here. But there